Alrighty, well, let's take a trip back to the early 2000s here and take a look at the ultimate wireless PC to TV system. So to my understanding, this is an early video wireless transmitter to basically share a TV or like monitor screen to another screen wirelessly. By today's standards, that's not very interesting, and we can do that pretty easily, but this is from, I believe it was 2001, it's said here somewhere. Yes, on the back here is part of some 2001 awards thing. It was a nominee, so that's interesting. So we'll see if it works here, but check out some of this older wireless technology here and see what it was all about. And maybe we can hook up an old laptop and try to mirror its screen somewhere across the room. Okay, well again, just to go over the box then real fast and kind of go over what the advertising on this was. Yeah, it looks like it supports VGA, which is good for a couple different iMac stuff here. Full support for MS-DOS as well as the earlier Windows. I can only imagine that would be the same with current Windows if it has a VGA cable display or output from the computer. I'm guessing that would work. I don't see why not. No software required. That was another cool thing, is that this is just plug and play. But other than that, real normal packaging here. Nothing too fancy. It's really cool to see these old laptops and TVs here, the CRT, and heck, I don't even think I've seen a laptop like that ever before that looks like this one in that picture. So if I ever find one of those, I'll have to pick those up. Other than that, kind of real basic stuff here. So let's tear it open and see what exactly we got in the box then. I did open this up at the thrift store just to, make sure all the parts were accounted for. So I have seen all these, but I can lay them out here and can take a look at what exactly got into closer detail. All right, little grand ultimate wireless user guide here. I guess it kind of goes over some setup and, resolution stuff. But I think we can figure this out without this, but we'll consult if we do need that. Anyway. For the pile of cables I got, that's interesting. Why do I have a coax cable? I don't believe that does anything for us. But yeah, we have two power bricks for the transmitter and the receiver. We have some component stuff here, and we have some more component video and sound, it looks like. This is PS2, I guess? Or is this S-Video? Yes. Yes, this is S-Video. We have this is really cool. I like these connectors because they're just really weird, and they're pretty proprietary, I guess, for this kind of thing. But this is basically a VGA splitter of sorts, or interceptor, I guess would be more of the correct term there. Pretty sure this goes into the transmitter, like so. Basically, we just intercept the line between the current computer and the monitor. It takes that video source and sends it to the transmitter, and then that sends it to the receiver. So you get the same video output on the recipient display as well. This is also pretty cool here. This is I think it's a AA, like battery box for the receiver, I guess, or the transmitter. If you had, if you put it somewhere where there wasn't a plug, you could put some AA's in here. I don't want to break it. I wonder how to open this. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so you put some AA's in there, and then you can hook up the barrel power to the receiver and get power that way. That's pretty cool. And we got another cable of component stuff there, video and audio it looks like. Don't know why I got so many, but anyway, I'll take it, I guess. And looks like a 3.5mm audio cable, just a standard one there, nothing too special. Just taking a real quick closer look at the transmitter this one is, and that's the receiver it looks like. We got some options here, menu, zoom, fine tune, so stuff probably to do with kind of correcting the positioning of the transmitted display is my thought on that, and some power lines there as well. Position adjustment, that's always nice. So this is the kind of interceptor for the VGA signal that'll plug into there, and it's actually color-coded red, which is cool too. So that goes there. But we have 3.5mm audio in, RGB out, S-Video out, another video out, and our power. I believe then, we have video in. Yeah, I believe this video in is for like, if you're going to connect up an old camcorder or something like that, that had the video out on it. I think you can plug that right into there, and then you'll be able to transmit whatever's displaying on there to the receiver monitor. So That's interesting. And then we have a bunch of switches here. I guess you could have multiple receivers, the ability to switch to which one you'd like, you know, in different rooms or something like that. So receiver is a lot more simpler here. Basically just audio and video out and power and a channel select as well. We got our antennas that we can stick up for better reception there. I think it should be a pretty simple setup. Let's get, I don't know, maybe let's get the Lenovo T60. And that seems to have come in handy a lot pretty recently. So that has a VGA out. I think we can intercept that. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, well, I got the T60 all set up here now, and I have the transmitter all hooked up here as well. Our interceptor here, it's plugged into power, and we are set to channel 1. Got the antenna up there. The actual interceptor VGA cable is not plugged in yet. I have plugged in an external monitor just to test out, and with our upper monitor here, and we're set to 1920 by 1080p. So technically that is not supported by the Ultimate Grand Wireless, so we'll drop that down. I think, what were they saying, 1600 by 1200, so let's do 1440 by 900 then. Let's give that a whirl, and let's take a look at where I set up the transmitter too, because that's in a totally different room. I'd say probably 20 feet away from where we are, so let's see if that works. Okay, well, we are at the work table, my work table for testing out electronics here. Basically, we're about, yeah, again, 20 feet away or so, and there is one wall between us and the desk that you usually see. I'll show a little bit of what I got set up here right now. So basically, I have a 24-inch monitor there, just a regular 1080p HP monitor, and you can see it's already doing stuff there because it's already hooked up to our receiver. I have an HDMI converter going to the component audio and video, and that goes to our receiver, which is right here, and that is set to channel 1 as well. I have the switch down. You can see we're already picking up stray signal here. We don't have the interceptor connected to the Lenovo T60 as of yet, so there should be no signal being displayed from the transmitter, at least not an active video signal of the screen. So we'll hook that up in just a second, but looks like this is at least on its way to working. I can't imagine why it wouldn't work. Let's get back to the desk and hook up that video interceptor and see if we get anything on this display here. Let's hook up the interceptor cable here. Hopefully that'll just work. Like so, and then once more. And that's all hooked up to the transmitter, and we should be good to go. Technically we could add audio too with the 3.5mm jack, but let's just make sure video works here. And back on the top monitor, it looks like we are getting a pass-through. I don't know if you can see that very well. It is a little blurry. It's kind of a little hard to read the text up here and stuff. In person here, it looks not so well off. Anyway, let's head back over to the testing table and see if we have our monitor displayed over there. Look at that. We have a desktop image there, a Windows XP image. And you can see, it's coming through, but not with 100% clarity there. We are getting plenty of interference, it looks like, but it is coming through. So I'll have to put something on that screen to kind of prove to you that it's actually going through, but that's really cool, and it does work. Okay, well, as you can maybe hear, I have got something going here. This is Lego Racers 2 going on the top monitor here, which is the Windows XP device here. As you can kind of see. But anyway, let's head back over to the testing table and see what that monitor looks like. Hey, look, we have got an image coming through, and I have a wireless keyboard and mouse hooked up, so I think we can at least try to play a little bit of Lego Racers here and see if that works at all with the latency that I'm sure this receiver has. Okay, well, apologies. This table wasn't really set up for videoing, so this is going to be interesting, but Lego Racer's set up there, and we can hopefully go through all this and get into a race here and just see if it's a playable latency. And reading through the back of the box in the instruction manual a little bit, gaming is one of the advertised capabilities of this thing, being able to game away from your computer, your console on a different room's TV. So we'll have to make sure that this works. Okay, well, sorry again. Yeah, not the best camera angle, but yeah, we're in, and you know, depending on what is going on around the receiver and transmitter, we do get a bit of that interference there. But you know, I guess it's playable. It really is, and the response time, at least for this Lego racing game, I believe this was also 2001, so around the same time this Ultimate Wireless came out. It seems to be working pretty good. I could definitely play Lego Racers like this. But yeah, you definitely see it where the quality is concerned. This looks a lot better native on the actual external monitor than the mirror of the monitor there, so definitely losing some quality, but again, it is playable, and I think for the time at least, this would have been really cool to have. I mean, it's really cool right now even to be able to do like a remote play like this, the screen sharing. Back in the day, that would have been even cooler. I press left, goes left. Seems to be fairly responsive. I can't fault Ultimate Wireless Kit too much on that. That's actually really cool, and to still see it working here in 2026 here, that's, you know, 25 years after it's released, and it's still holding up, and it's getting interference from stuff like this, which is 2.4 gigahertz band as well, with the USB receiver and other 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, I'm sure, in the area from neighbors and stuff like that. And it's still able to produce a somewhat clear screen like this. I think that's pretty awesome. Okay, well, back at the desk in conclusion time here, I gotta say, you know, it works, and it's pretty fun pickup. Really, I didn't expect it to work. I only paid like $3 for it, so happy surprise it does work. And it's not awesome. Again, it's not a great experience per se, but it is a really cool older technology, and to still see that working today is really awesome, and kind of just goes to show how some of this older stuff can still be somewhat viable today. Yeah, it's not going to produce an HD quality screen, and of course we have so much better screen mirroring and display technology now, so it's like, why bother with something like this at this point? Really, it's just for fun and for just taking a look at it and maybe hooking it up to some older machine that has, you know, those component connectors or VGA or something like that might be fun to try to mirror without having to do some digital conversion, which sometimes can be a pain. But in this case, it went okay, at least for the receiver from the component to HDMI. That seemed to work just fine, and I can't believe there would be much of an issue with this since it is kind of a plug-and-play system, so there's no software required, which is another nice thing to have, really. Anyway, I am rambling on, but I kind of said what I had to say, and I think it's pretty cool, so I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see ya in the next video.